Alright, welcome back to Flight Sim 2024 and welcome back to the Neofly series. This is episode 62 and we are on the ground at Sanctuary Island back in our Gippsland G8 Airvan. And this is where we ended in the previous episode. It's now late afternoon and we are once again going to attempt to get a hazardous cargo out of Sanctuary and back to Maun. So that's the plan for the first flight of today. We'll then see what we can pick up from there. I do want to try my best to end up at Victoria Falls this evening. At least we can fly to Vic Falls in the dark, but we are losing daylight very fast, as you can see that sun going down behind the trees. So before we lose daylight completely, let's jump aboard. Always have loads of fun finding this door handle. Come on. There we go. Okay. Make sure that that is locked. And then we can start getting things powered up. Okay. I've swapped out my GPS for the TDS version, so we can use that. So let's come down here. Let's get this out of the way. Right, if we go up here, we can do... that's fine, so let's do batteries. Nav light, we can turn on the beacon light already. There's no one else out here. We'll do the taxi light as well. Landing lights and strobes we will do just now. Okay, so this is fairly simple. We just want to go direct to Maun from here.
TOS system test okay.
Perfect. Okay, parking brake is set. Right, let's then go mixture and prop.
Everything looks good from where I'm sitting. Taxi to the runway and takeoff.
Right, and then we can do flaps for takeoff. We'll do landing lights and strobe lights. Chuck this back to the map. Okay, everything feels good. Let's ditch the parking brake. Okay, and I think we're good to go. Let's release the parking brake. Give it some power. There we go. Let's not drive through this bush here. We'll go up this way. Okay, landing lights, strobes, flaps. Okay, let's just see where is the actual runway here. It's a bit further along. I want to make sure I don't hit any rocks again like we did the first time with the Airvan. So I think about there. Okay, mixture. Airspeed's alive.
Have a safe flight.
Keep an eye on your vertical speed.
Okay, there we go, just 21 miles out from Maun. So about 15 minutes. So we should hopefully make it before it's completely dark. I think we'll be okay. Right, nice and heavy today. So we're cruising along pretty slowly. But that's okay. Hazardous cargo, slow and steady is perfectly fine. Do have a tiny amount of power in hand if I do need it, but I think we're alright just like this. And we're slowly picking up some speed. I can tell because I'm having to trim nose down. Other thing I should just do is flip this pitot heat on so that warning light goes out. Okay, 9 minutes out. You're sitting around 100 knots, just under 100 knots now, so it's not terrible.
Too low terrain. Too low terrain. Too low. Terrain. Too low.
What a beautiful early evening, very late afternoon. I guess it's technically evening now. Some giraffe. Thought we would have seen more animals during these flights around the Okavango. We've seen a couple, mostly giraffe and elephant, some zebra. I think that's about it, really. Up to about 100 knots now, 3,500 feet. Very chilled. That sun is down. Right, then we'll see what jobs are available. So we can either pick up a flight now that takes us over to Vic Falls. I do have a couple of aircraft available at Maun. Otherwise, if there's nothing suitable for that, we can just wait until tomorrow morning and then just head out and do some more flights into the Okavango. It's also chilled. Oh, we picked up quite an updraft there. Now the downdraft. There must have been a thermal there somewhere. Seems a bit late for that. Okay, now we just need to spot the runway. Okay, we're not far now, we can see the town. Kept us pretty low because we do need to watch that 500 feet a minute vertical speed when we descend as well. Right, I'm going to bring the prop back to full again. Okay, there's the runway. Okay, here goes flaps one. Just watching that 500 feet a minute. Now I feel like we are a bit high, so I can't descend that fast. This is what I was worried about. Just keep that descent rate at 500 or just under 500 and see if we can make this runway now. We've got a lot of runway, so I think we just use it. Bit of wind.
Transporter from dispatch. Nice landing. Go to the parking and put your parking brake on. I'll be in touch.
Whoa. That got
Contact
nice and
ground for
squirrely.
parking assignment, then shut down your engine.
Okay, flaps up, landing lights, strobes. Okay, welcome back to Maun. Okay, once we park up here, I'll bring up Neofly. We can have a look and see. I know my 208 Caravan is here. There's a PC-12 here as well. My AI pilots are flying pretty much everything else. Although there is a... there's a BAE 146, I think it's a 300, that comes in and out here. So I don't know if it's currently here or if it's headed back to Durban. There's an A321 and an A320, I think. It's either an A321 and an A320 or possibly two A321s that come in and out here also. There is a... oh, there's an Embraer 190 that comes in and out here. All of those could be here, or they could have gone back to Durban with the AI pilots. There's something that comes from East London. I think that is the... I think that is the Embraer 190 comes from East London. There might also be an A340 300. I can't remember where that's going. But we'll have a look now. Probably should have parked a little bit further forward. I don't think it's the end of the world.
Ready to unload the hazardous cargo. Please stay in your seat until it's off the plane.
Alright, there goes our cargo.
Great work! That was a dangerous flight. You can now go back to your day job.
Okay, let's see if we can close this.
Ready for engine start.
Oh my word. Does it feel like the wheel on this side is a bit flat? You can click on this. I don't know why. Interesting. Okay, let's go and bring up Neofly. Okay, so we're on the ground at Maun. So, oh, there's a Kodiak here as well. Forgot about that. So we've got the kind of 3 aircraft sort of similar roles. 208 is the biggest, then the Kodiak, then the Airvan. Then we've got the PC-12 for some executive stuff. So this A321 has left Maun. We've got another Embraer up at Kilimanjaro. Oh, that was the other one. There's an A300 that comes in, but that's also left, so that's probably going to Durban. Now A340 is up at Kilimanjaro, Skukuza, Durban, Kilimanjaro, Cape Town, Johannesburg, also Kilimanjaro. So this A321 also headed out from Maun. There's another A300 at Durban King Shaka. Aha, we do have a 146-300 here at Maun. So maybe we grab that and head out to Victoria Falls. So that's an option. There's a few things for sale here. There's a CRJ 1000, which we can afford quite easily. There's a 146-200. Phenom 100, another 146-200 passenger version. That's the Quiet Trader is the cargo. That's about it. We can't afford the A340-300 or the AN225 or the A380 for that matter. Why is the 747-400 so cheap? That seems wrong, but I don't have this aircraft anyway. I don't know why it's showing up, to be honest. Okay, so there's a couple of options there. Let's go and see for our Airvan what we have heading out. So no flights to Vic Falls, which is here somewhere. No flights to Vic Falls for the Airvan. If we look for something like the Caravan, same story there. We've got random flight into Eswatini and one to Beira. PC-12, exactly the same story. Okay. Oh, PC-12. Do I just have these displayed differently for these guys? No, we are showing all of them. Okay. So the PC-12 has some time-sensitive cargo, it looks like. We'll just wait for that to load. So, oh, not to Vic Falls itself. Those are a bit far. Messina. Is that Palapai? Yes. Ulundi. Okay, let's go and have a look then at that 146. I haven't flown the 146 for a while, so that'll be fun. Wow, not a lot of options here either. Okay, it's refreshing. Neofly is notoriously slow. Okay, so we do have some flights to Vic Falls, so I think that's what we're gonna do. So this one gives us 62,000, 67, 69, 73, and 86 if we do the timed cargo, which we don't have space for because we'll have a job loaded up for Durban. Okay, quite a lot of fuel. No, not a lot of fuel on board. Although this is a relatively short flight. So what I'm going to do is open up SimBrief and actually do this flight plan. And then we can do some calculations. So this is the part that you guys never really see. Okay, let's bring SimBrief over here. So we're going to go from Maun to Vic Falls. is this one? Up here. In a 146-300. Okay, so just over an hour. It's not a long flight. And that's perfectly fine. Just 2 waypoints. No VORs that we could use. Although we could do that. So we'll use the Maun VOR MAV. I'm just gonna go via VORs here because it's a nice short route. And then VFA, we'll be able to do that. That basically takes us direct. Okay, let's generate that. Right, so this tells us we need a block fuel of 5345 fuel. Okay, so what I need Okay, so if we grab this, right, so we can take 5345, that's in kgs, and if we go back to Neofly is in pounds, so we need 11, let's call it 11.8 pounds. So if we go back to Neofly, we need to dial this up to about 11.8. Okay, that'll do. So we can load that up. We are taking cargo, which makes sense. So we need a co-pilot, but we need to kick off this guy and replace them with me. Right, and then we can go back to the job list. And this timed cargo, let's see how much space we have left. Not enough space for anything else. So that's cool. Now we just need to jump back into the sim and go and load up the 146. So I will be back with you in just a bit. Okay, welcome back to the evening now, and a nice kind of hazy Maun. The sun is pretty much gone. Hey, there's a caravan. Is that on floats? That's awkward. What is that, a King Air or... Don't actually know what that is. Right, but we are loaded up and ready to go. Well, sort of. We've prepped some of the stuff. We're going to use GSX to load the aircraft. So our 146-300 is ready to start loading, so we can jump aboard and get that going. One thing I did have to change is I added the Kasane VOR because I wanted to use Beyond ATC, and it doesn't work if you don't have a waypoint somewhere in between the airports. So using the VORs that are right next to each airport wasn't going to work. So I have added the Kasane VOR. So let's ask GSX to refuel.
Refueling truck is on its way.
Okay, so we should be fueled up to just around 5.3, 5.4 tons. So we'll keep an eye on that. I have imported my SimBrief flight plan. So Maun to Vic Falls. Okay, so hopefully they start doing things. Right, the only thing I've done up here is put the lights on. The rest we still need to do. So let's start going through and switching things on. Okay, that's fine for now. Okay,
Fuel truck is in
batteries
position.
are on and we're on the external power. So there we go. We want to use SimBrief, so that's perfect. We'll get that on. Actually, no, let's leave that off because we'll just turn all the fuel pumps on and then fire up the APU once we are done with fueling. So that's cool. And then we can arm the emergency exit lights and seatbelt signs. So I guess we haven't finished fueling yet, so let's not do that, even though we don't have passengers. It's a cargo flight anyway. Okay, I'm not actually going to use the FMS because we are just flying VOR. So we really just need these. Right, let's set up our first two VORs. So we are going to go from Maun 112.7 at 48 degrees. That takes us from the Maun VOR to the Kasane VOR. And then Kasane is 113.3. So that's ready. And then from Kasane, so we want to keep that 48 when we switch between Maun and Kasane. But what I'm going to do on this side is put in 113.3, and we're going to dial that to 121 degrees because that takes us from Kasane. What did I say? 121, yeah. From Kasane to Vic Falls, and then we can just flip these over, so that'll actually work nicely. Right, then we need to contact ATC to get our clearance. Okay, for some reason I don't have a button on my joystick that takes me to this. Oh, it is there, it's just not working. Okay, that's better. So they'll let us know when the fueling is done. I wonder if I can... I mean, that looks like it's pretty much done already. Pretty close. Done in 8 seconds.
Boarding
Let's request
requested.
boarding then. Okay, so that's the navigation sorted. So if we come back to our OFP, so zero fuel weight, if we go here, takeoff weight 39.4. So this should dial up. I don't know how to change this manually, but it will change once our loading is complete. So we should be at, I think, 40 tons there for takeoff. And then we can dial the rest in ourselves. Okay, let me just check that this is all working. Cool. Right, I need to do the same thing with my view for down here. So that's this one. For some reason this has freaked out. Okay. Then Maun ground 121.9. Ground, good evening to you. Alpha 2, November, Alpha November, IFR to Victoria Falls, ready to copy.
Alpha 2, November, Alpha November, Maun ground, information X-ray current, clear to Victoria Falls, runway 08 after departure, radar vectors Kasane, climb to flight level 090, squawk 6733.
Okay, clear to Victoria Falls. Information X-ray, runway 08. After departure, radar vectors to Kasane. Climb initially flight level 090, squawk 6733. November, Alpha November.
Alpha 2, November, Alpha November, reback correct. Call me back when ready for pushback or engine start.
Call you back, November, Alpha November. Thank you very much. Okay, so 6733, and that's on standby, so that's cool. Can flip this on while we're here. That's all good. Okay, things are happening outside. They are loading, so that sounds good. This hasn't gone up yet, so we'll see. Okay, that is set. We got runway 08. So let's dial this. So that'll be about there. And climb to flight level 090. So we can set this to heading, which probably isn't going to do anything now because we need to turn that on. And vertical speed. Cool. We'll keep that out for engine start. That is now going up, so our loading is working. Fueling is done, so let's turn all of these on. And let's go ahead and fire up the APU. Okay, QNH is 1021, so let's dial that in correctly. Okay, that is set. We're up to 36 tons. And then I think we are pretty much good to go. We are then just waiting for GSX to finish. Why these aren't working? It's the exact same thing. Very strange. Okay, so we are parked over here. We're getting 08, so we'll most likely just get alpha short of 08. Nice and easy. It's very interesting that our spoilers are up. But they are. Okay, it's just because my spoiler lever was in the wrong place. Okay, so that is sorted now. Okay, and these guys should be just about done. We're up to 41 tons. And it sounds like they are done. Well, up to 43, okay. I thought we were going to be on 40. Let's come down here. Right, we'll set the V-speeds. So we are 22 degrees outside. Let's just dial that up to 30. And this is probably okay for now. Yo, I used to know these values off the top of my head. I don't anymore. Okay, I think boarding is complete. Yes, it is. So let's prep for pushback and departure, which means we can come down here and close all of this. It is interesting that we are over our zero fuel weight. Okay, the APU is up and running. So let's turn this on. Let's turn the APU on. We will ditch the external power. And then we can get rid of this as well.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Yeah, that is a bit worrying. Right, they are connecting up. And we are ready to start. We'll just do the push, I think. Or should we tell them we don't need pushback? I think we don't actually need pushback. There's a taxiway right in front of us. So... oh no, that's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. See, there should be a thing somewhere to say that we don't need pushback. Okay, it'll probably come up then once they connect, which is happening now. Oh, they've all disappeared. Okay, maybe because I said interrupt, they're all gone. Okay, let's not do that. Okay, then we can just call up ATC and say we're ready for startup. Ground Alpha 2 November, Alpha November, ready for startup. Okay, never mind. GSX is doing something else now.
Alpha 2 November, Alpha November, startup approved. Call when ready for taxi.
Call you back, Alpha 2 November, Alpha November.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
See, how do I tell it I don't need pushback? Right, the other thing I want to do is let's just get the packs on and APU air. Okay, we'll turn the beacon light on. These will be on auto. Get the entry lights off. Okay. Let's see. So they're gonna put us straight onto Charlie. So we'll just ask them to pull us forward like that. How do I... How do I say yes? Cool.
Release parking brakes, please.
Alright, well, we didn't tell ATC we were going to do that, but I guess it's not the end of the world. Okay, parking brakes released.
All engines
And we'll
clear.
start up the engines.
Start at will.
So, engine start, this start master needs to be on. That's cool, that's cool, that's done. Packs off. And no, those off. But these all on. This on, and then starting engine 4.
Please set parking brakes.
Okay, brakes set.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, let's do engine 3.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Okay, so we are here on Charlie. So we'll just go Charlie Alpha. You just drive through us, bro. Okay, engine 2 coming up. The ground crew's already disconnected, so we can do runway turn-off lights and taxi lights. And engine 1.
You're good to go. Contact the tower for clearance.
Okay, that's the starter cutout. The engine's going to stabilize shortly. So this can go back to off. That goes to off. Packs can come back on. These can come off. These can go on. That's good. That should be on. Generator 1 and 4. Sorted. Then engine hydraulic pumps, and that low pressure is now extinguished. Perfect. Okay, that's on auto, and we are good there. This can now come on, and this can come on as well, and we'll set that to take off. Right, what is it complaining about down here? Emergency lights, parking brake, and flight recorder is because of the parking brake, I think. Where are the emergency lights? Those are armed. Oh, it's these ones then. Cool. The flight recorder. Is that because of the parking brake? Yes, it is. Cool. Ground Alpha 2 November, Alpha November, ready for taxi.
Alpha 2 November, Alpha November, taxi to holding point Alpha, runway 08 via Charlie Alpha.
Holding point Alpha, runway 08 via Charlie Alpha, Alpha November, correction, Alpha 2 November, Alpha November. Okay, all good. We basically just taxi straight all the way down. Okay, so once we land up on the runway, we'll just double check our heading bug, that is. Then we will advance the power levers until the auto thingy catches them. We rotate, and then we pitch for about 1,500 feet per minute of climb. We'll let it accelerate, flaps up, gear up. And then we're going to accelerate to 210 knots, climb at 210 until 10,000 feet, and then we accelerate to 250. Wow, that's even if we go above 10,000 feet. Let me just check our cruise altitude, which I didn't actually look at before. We're cruising at 230. Okay, so then 250 knots to 10,000 feet. We'll level off at 230, and then we just go to cruise power. Right, let's set flaps 18. Okay, rotate speed is 137. We'll follow the ATC vectors until they put us onto our course. They're probably going to give us a direct, so we can just dial that course knob until it lines up with where we currently are, and then we'll intercept that radial. Now, the 146 does have that interesting, like, autopilot half disconnect thing. I can't remember exactly what it's called. So I need to see if that's going to work. I haven't tried that on my new controller.
Maun Tower 118.7, have a good evening.
118.7, November Alpha November, good evening. Okay, let's see. Landing lights, strobe lights. Tower, good evening. Alpha 2, November Alpha November, runway 08, ready for departure.
Alpha 2 November Alpha November Maun Tower. Wind 130 degrees, 3 knots. Fly runway heading, runway 08, cleared for takeoff.
Runway heading and clear for takeoff, runway 08, November Alpha November. Okay, there's the holding point. Right, we are good to go.
All aircraft be advised, information Yankee now current, QNH1022.
TMS set to takeoff.
That's what it's called, the TMS. Okay, TMS has
Power
control
set,
of the
flex
throttles. Power set.
Speed alive, both sides.
Checked.
$80 cross-checked. V1. Rotate. V2.
Transporter. Good
Positive
flight.
rate of climb, gear on.
Okay, we're up to 2,000 feet a minute climb already. Those flaps are very potent, so as those are coming up, we just need to watch the dropping of the nose.
Alpha 2 November Alpha November, contact Maun departure 126.0.
Autopilot on. 126.0 Alpha November, correction, Alpha 2 November Alpha November. Yeah, that disconnect thing isn't working. So that's something I need to fix. flaps coming up. Let's just ditch the vertical speed. Departure, good evening, Alpha 2, November, Alpha November, passing 4,700, climbing flight level 090.
Alpha 2 November.
Okay, let's go IS.
On departure identified, climb flight level 110.
Climb flight level 110, November, Alpha November.
Alpha 2 November, turn left heading 050.
Left heading 050, November, Alpha November. Okay, I do actually want to speed up a little. So there's 200 knots. Flaps are up. There's 210. Now we can go IS hold.
Alpha 2 November, clear direct Catine. Resume on navigation.
Direct Kasane, November, Alpha November. Okay, so like I said, we can now dial this.
Negative, clear direct Catine.
Direct Kasane, November, Alpha November. Okay, so that's not actually going to work. Let's see if we're picking up the Kasane VOR. We are not. So that is an interesting issue.
Alpha 2 November, contact Dabor on control 126.1.
126.1, November, Alpha November. Control, good evening. Alpha 2 November, Alpha November, passing flight level 090, climbing flight level 110.
Alpha 2 November, Gabor on control, identified, climb flight level 230.
Climb flight level 230, November, Alpha November. Yeah, flying at night just makes everything more difficult. Okay, so we're still following the Maun VOR now. So it's not perfect, but it'll work until we can get a bearing on... I'm trying to find these lights. Until we can get a bearing on Kasane. That's TMS. Okay, there's 10,000 feet, so we can turn the landing lights off. Let's do engine air, APU air off, APU off. Runway turn-off lights can come off. And then we'll ditch IS mode. And let's just go nose down a bit so we can pick up speed to 250 knots. And then I'll try and fiddle with the lights. I think it's here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. I think my wing lights are still on. Yeah, and the logo light we can turn off as well. Okay, I'm just looking to see when we pick up Kasane 113.3. Just double check that I've got that correct. .3, yeah. Okay, coming up to 250 knots now. There's 250 IS mode. Look at that sky. Okay, passing flight level 150, and we should actually dial this down to standard now. Okay, so I think we are now picking up 113. So let's just go into heading mode. And then we can flip these over. Okay, we are indeed picking up the Kasane. So we'll dial this around. Then we'll go back into VOR mode. Okay, flight level 170 we just passed. Okay, we are now well on our way. Let's see. I'm expecting the weather to be much the same in Vic Falls. Temperature 18, wind 250 at 3, no clouds. So pretty chill. QNH 1021. flight level 190. Okay, this is going to be a pretty short cruise. So we'll prep this for once we level off, we can just calculate our top of descent. Okay, we're 106 miles from Kasane. And then Kasane is, if I just look on my Navigraph plan, is only 40 miles from Vic Falls. I just have to say, I love the VAE aircraft. I love the 146, the RJs, loads of fun. And my favorite aircraft in FSX was the BAE Jetstream 41. I don't know, there's something about the British aerospace aircraft that I've always enjoyed. I've forgotten how much I love flying this aircraft. It's been a while, but it's good to be back. Okay, so a couple of towns and stuff on the horizon with some light pollution, but pretty spectacular sky. Just passed through flight level 210. Flight level 220. Trying to remember what I used to use here. I think it was like 720. Let's maybe start there and we'll see. Because what are we at now? 856. Altitude is armed, coming up to flight level 230 now. Okay, 77 miles to Kasane. And we are level at 230. Speed starting to pick up. Let's go to that target thrust. Those white arrows mean we need to actually physically bring the thrust lever back, so I've done that. And then it should stabilize us at 720 on the temperatures. And then we'll just settle into our cruise speed at that power setting. I think that's fine. Just make sure we don't overspeed as well, obviously. Okay, 69 miles to Kasane. So just over 100 miles to Vic Falls. Alright, let's come here. We'll give this some time for the speed to settle. So we are expecting runway 30. So we have an RNAV or a VOR. Let's take the VOR. .116.7. Okay, so I've dialed in 121. So once we get to Kasane, I'm going to flip over to nav 2, and then we can set up nav 1 again for the VOR approach into Vic Falls. Now technically we would have to do like a procedure turn here, I guess. But they're going to vector us in, so I don't think we have to worry about that. Intercept at 5,000 feet. 298 is the course. Minimum's 438 radio, so we can dial that in. So we'll do 440. Okay, let's just keep an eye on our speed. Yeah, we're sitting pretty consistent around 250 knots. So we can actually probably bump this up a little bit, not that much. Okay, so if we go back here, 21,000 feet, that's our ground speed. We're going to 5,000. Vertical speed of just over 2,000 feet a minute. We descend 57 miles. So we'll say around 60 miles, which means we actually need to start descending as we make the turn towards Vic Falls, because it's 40 miles from Kasane VOR to Vic Falls VOR. But if we go back to the chart, Kasane is up here, so it's 40 miles from there to there. So we've got some time after that as well. So we'll probably start that descent as we make the turn towards the Vic Falls VOR. Lowest approach altitude is also 5,000 feet. Trying to see what what towns we have here. It's not actually labeled. Yeah, so there's Kasane there, and then we head this way to Big Falls.
Alpha to November, Alpha November, report ready for descent.
I guess we just told them we're ready for descent now, because otherwise Beyond ATC freaks out. We are ready for descent now. November, Alpha November.
Alpha to November, Alpha November, descent to flight level 230.
Great. Descent to flight level 230, November, Alpha November.
Negative runway 30.
You didn't say that. Runway 30, November, Alpha November. Is that what we prepped for? I think we did. Yes. And this is VOR Zulu. And November Alpha November would like to request the VOR Zulu approach to runway 30, please.
Alpha 2 November, Alpha November, confirm new approach for Zulu approach runway 30.
Affirmative, November Alpha November.
Alpha 2 November, Alpha November, QNH 1021, expect radar vectors for both Zulu approach runway 30.
QNH 1021, radar vectors for the VOR DME Zulu approach runway 30, November Alpha November. Okay, so they gave us what we asked for, but they haven't actually let us descend yet, so that is a bit concerning.
Transporter from dispatch. For some cargo reason you don't want to know, please avoid the planned airport. Some people are waiting for you there. Check your log.
Great. They want us to land at Kasane. Okay. So that we can't do with Beyond ATC as far as I know. And Alpha 2 November Alpha November would like to divert to Kasane, please. I don't think that's supported at this current time.
November, Roger, say fixed name.
Negative. Alpha 2 November Alpha November, we would like to divert to Kasane Airport. Foxtrot Bravo Kilo Echo.
Alpha 2 November Alpha November, I didn't get the
We're gonna ditch Beyond ATC. We're going to start our descent. I'm gonna put in 6,000 for now. We're going to go IAS. We're going to go descent mode. Okay, so that descent mode keeps enough power. Even when you bring the throttles back to idle, keeps enough power to run the packs and pressurization and stuff. Right, we are going to now change this. And this is going to be a very rushed figuring out here. So we only have runway 08 approaches. Let me quickly check the weather with active sky at the KE. Winds 230 at 4. 4 knots is not horrendous, so 2.6 would be better, but I think because it is night, let's take the approach. So let's do VOR Zulu for runway 8. We've already got the VOR dialed in, 113.3. Let's go heading. We're going to fly past the airport. We're only 6 miles now, but that's fine. And then we will dial in here 81. So my plan is to go past the airport. Oh, come on. That is highly frustrating. Okay. Past the airport, and then we'll loop around to the left and join on. Okay, so we're basically overhead Kasane now. Right, the airport elevation is 3,290. We intercepted 5,000, so let's dial this down to 5. And we'll arm that. Okay, the other thing I am going to need to do quickly is just slow down a bit. Okay, I just want to get us to about 230 knots, and then we'll keep that IAS speed. So that's 250, there's 240. Okay, we're already almost 20 miles past the airport, so let's start a left-hand turn that takes us parallel to the runway. Okay, that's about 230 there, so we'll go IS, and so we can continue descending nice and quick. Okay, minimum's here 320, so let's fix that. Okay, navigation is set, 131.3 checked, course 81 set, minimum set. Missed approach altitude is 6,000, so turn right to 243. Oh, we turn right to intercept. Okay, turn right to 243 and intercept the 198 radial. And we fly a DME arc at 11 miles. That's fun. Let's hope we don't have to go around. I haven't done a DME arc for years. Okay, let's set that up here. Was it 192? 198. So let's dial this up to 198. So if we have to fly that, we go... So what I'll do is, once we intercept the VOR we dial the heading to 243, and then if we do go missed, we go heading mode, which turns us to 243, and we flip over to nav 2, which puts us onto that radial. We fly that and then do the 11-mile DMER. Okay, just to give us as much time as possible here, let's do our QNH now. 1021. Okay, we're now flying away from the airport parallel to the runway. We're still at flight level 140, so we've got a long way to go. So we're going to have quite an extended downwind here. I've never flown into Kasane, so this is going to be very interesting. Okay, runway 08, nice and simple. We're probably going to turn around over there, and there's just one apron, so we'll turn right onto the apron. So that's pretty easy. Okay, I think we're good. Flight level 120 coming up. Okay, we are quite heavy. Let's plan for a flaps 24 landing. So we'll set our speeds based on that. So VREF 139. Okay, 11,000 feet coming up. Right, I'm very confused. Why is our distance to the airport going down? Oh, it isn't. Okay. The reason why it's doing that is we are directly alongside it. We can't be. Okay, no, I don't know why I thought it was going up. Okay, 10,000 feet. Landing lights. Okay, landing lights on, runway exit lights on. APU coming on, APU air, engine air off. Oh, that's for the APU. Whoops. I should probably wait for the APU to fire up before I turn those off, but it is a cargo flight. It's not really the end of the world. Cool, looking good. Okay, let's start turning towards the airport. Yeah, I don't know why I thought we were the wrong side of the airport. That's pointing back that way, which makes perfect sense. Okay, Okay, so we'll wait for this to flatten out a little bit, and then we will go about there, 120-ish, to intercept. Yeah, let's maybe slow down a little more. I hope that's not the runway there. I'm worried that it is. And the runway doesn't have lights. Okay, the other thing we can do is turn on the logo lights. Kind of doesn't make sense for it to have an RNAV and a VOR approach and no runway lights. I think we're a little too close to the airport. I'm worried about this angle here. Yeah, I think it's right there, and we're too close. Feet to go. I think that is the runway.
$2,500.
Okay, I'm gonna do a bit of a teardrop kind of thing here. Right, we're level at 5,000 feet. They want us to intercept at 11 miles. That is quite close. We're going to extend to... We're at 15 now. Okay, so we can bleed off some more speed. Let's get onto this radial. I don't know if it was necessary to turn out there, but considering it's so dark below and we're doing this old school, I'm playing it safe.
Speed checked below 205. Select flaps 18.
Okay, we're not going to do that just yet. We're bleeding off speed because we are turning. The 146 doesn't have auto throttle like the RJ does. It's just got the TMS, but I am doing all of the throttle work now. Okay, let's arm that VOR. I don't think this runway has lights. And I think those lights that I was seeing are actually the puppy lights. which is going to be interesting. Okay, 15 miles out. I think those are the puppy lights. Okay, there's 11 miles coming up. We should have intercepted by now. I don't think those are the puppy lights anymore. That's like a small village or something. Okay, we're going to intercept slightly late. Let's go flaps 18. Okay, then at 6.1 miles is when we start descending at a 3-degree angle. But by then I've got to see those lights, otherwise this is going to be a massive struggle.
Speed check below 205, select gear down. Speed checked below 180. Select flaps 24.
Where do I set this thing again? I should have done this much earlier. There's a place here where you can set what landing flaps you're going to use, and I can't remember where it is. Okay, we're just gonna have to do flaps 33. I think I can see the runway.
Autopilot disconnected.
I think it's just those green lights that are telling us where the runway is. I didn't have time to set the heading mode to 243. That's why we need a co-pilot. But to be honest, if we go missed here because I can't see the runway, I'm not landing here. We'll go to Vic Falls anyway.
1,000.
In fact, I'd probably rather go back to Maun if there's people waiting to kill me at Vic Falls. Those are taxiway lights. Yeah, there's the runway there. Those are taxiway lights.
Plus 100.
Speed check below 145. Select flap 33.
Okay, what do we do now? I say we head back to Maun. We're gonna have enough fuel for that. Should. Or we could go to Livingston. Is it Livingston? Okay, let me just get to a point where I can use the autopilot. Okay, we're gonna go up to 10,000 feet here. Oh, we are heading east, so let's go 11. So that's armed. Let's get the heading out here. Okay, I just want to get that speed up to 210. And then we can mess around. Passing through 7.5, coming up to 210 knots. Okay, autopilot on, IS on, heading mode on. Belt is on, flaps are up. All that is good. Okay. So if we go here, it is Livingston. So that's my plan. We go into Livingston because we can't. Why can't I move this? Okay, we can't go into Vic Falls, but that's pretty close, which means we could pick this up in the morning and either fly to Kasane or Livingston. Or Vic Falls if it's safe. So that is FLHN. So let's go here. No, here, and let's do this again. Okay, I can't spell. Okay, wind's there. 245 at 3. So runway 28 is good. We're not doing RNAV though. VOR runway 28. Okay, 112.5.
Transporter, your deadline will expire in 5 minutes. Hurry up.
Yeah, that's not happening. Please let me dial. Okay, thank you. 112.5. Right, we are leveling off at 11,000. And we want to set 297. Okay, we intercept at 4,900. So we're going down again. Right, here we go. There's the runway straight in front of us. Okay, minimums. And that has runway lights at least. Minimum 673, we'll do 680. Okay, down to 4,009. Yeah, and I'm not even flying these actual approaches. So we should do 5.2. Let's see if we can fly this. It's a bit quick to try and brief this. 117. No, let's leave this here. No, I'm running out of time to do this. 112.5, and then it is 117. Okay, so we follow that to 5.8 DME. Then we turn left to 071. So I'm actually going to dial that 071 in here. We should intercept this course, this radial now. So 117 to 5.8, 071, 10 DME, we swing around to intercept 297. And at that point, at 10 DME, we drop to 49 from 5.2. Sure, okay. This doesn't feel right at all. Oh, it is. Look how it doesn't line up with the runway in the slightest. Interesting. Okay, at least we have runway lights. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit to try and settle on this radial because we came in at too much of an angle and we're quite fast. Oh, I didn't do this, so let's arm that. So it's going to snake around a little bit.
Tick tock, tick tock.
2500.
Sorry, but time is up.
Yeah, okay, I'm not too worried about that right now. Okay, so we're overhead at 5.2 miles. No, 5.8 miles. We turn left to 71, which I've got dialed in, so we just flip over to heading mode. That's if we can even stabilize on this radial. I don't think we're going to be able to. At least it's helping us bleed off a bit of speed. And we're flying cargo, so... Okay, looks like we might actually do it. Okay, there's 4.2. We're looking for 5.8, then we flip to heading mode. And then at that point, we also flip this back, or split, so then we'll be nav 1 on this side. 297, double check. That is correct. So then 10 DME, we start our turn back to intercept 297, which we should intercept around 12 DME. Okay, there it is. Heading mode. This comes back. Okay, I was a bit late on that heading change. Okay, now we drop to 49 at 10 DME when we start the turn. Okay, there's 10 DME. Swing the heading around. Oh, that's bad. Oh, I went too far. Now I've really messed that up now. Okay, fuel's still looking okay. So we're not in any major stress just yet. We are level at 4.9. Okay, we're supposed to complete this turn and intercept at 12 DME. We're going to be beyond that, I reckon. Although from now we'll start getting closer. So maybe it isn't too bad. Let's arm that VOR now. Okay, I still don't have time to look for the thing that tells us what flaps we're landing at, so we'll just do flaps full. It's not the end of the world. Is it down here somewhere? No, I thought it was in the middle here, but I don't see it anywhere. Anyway, not worrying about that right now. Okay. Okay, we might actually do this pretty much bang on 12. Okay, flaps 18. Right, I haven't briefed the most important part, is how we get onto the actual runway from this offset radial. $16 degrees. So I guess at least once we can see the runway, which I can already, we can just line up with it naturally. It's interesting that it doesn't say like a specific point where you break off from this 297 and then follow the action and then line up with the runway. I thought I was supposed to put this in takeoff again in case we do a go around. Okay, gear coming down. More flaps. Okay, gears down, green lights, flaps full, green. Just watch the speed. Let's try and sort that trim out. Runway's in sight. We're not, well, we already know we're not getting paid for this.
Plus 100.
Yeah, I feel like we are very high.
Minimums. Sync rate. 500.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, this 50, is not great.
40, 30.
I can't
20,
get it over to the left.
10.
That was a harder landing than we like to see, pilot.
Honestly, I'm just glad to be down at the moment.
Clear the runway and taxi to parking.
Brake pressure seen. 80 knots.
Oh, that was horrible.
60 knots.
I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get it to shift over to the left. It's not that much wind. Okay, spoilers can come up. Flaps can come up. But I think after all the changes and drama that we've been through, I just wanted to get it on the ground. I'll go look at the landing rate just now. Yeah, it's just I had a lot of left rudder in to try get that nose over, and just wasn't having it. Couldn't have been the wind doing that much at only 3 knots. Okay, but welcome to Livingston. Not where we expected to end up at any point until right at the end there. Also means we made no money on this leg, and it means we'll kick off the next Neofly episode probably with a short hop over to Victoria Falls. Okay, so we're turning to the right, which is what I thought. We can see those lights off to the right hand side there. Okay, so this taxiway should be coming up shortly. I'm just going to keep the landing lights on so we can see, because there's no lights here. Where is this taxiway? Here it is, here. Okay, we can turn off the strobe lights. Let's see if we go to taxi rather than landing lights. Yeah, I think that's usable. Let's get the wing lights on. That's actually making it worse for now. We'll turn those on later. I don't know where the parkings are here. These seem to be pretty small parkings, but I think we can just... There's no one else on the apron. We can take some space here. If there's no taxiway markings, then it is what it is. At least if we park kind of in the middle here, there's space on either side of us. Right, oh my word. Okay, those are off. Let's get these off.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. Sorry, but time is up.
That's fine. I'm not worried. Okay, that's done.
Let's get out of here.
Packs off. These are off. I think we can just switch off the APU. We're not going to unload the cargo because we need to take it somewhere else. So that's fine. APU off. Fuel pumps. Okay, all the lights. Ice detect. Okay, wing lights, logo lights. These beacon strobes are already off, and then nav lights. Okay, all these guys, brake fans off. Lift spoilers, pumps I already turned off, that's off, and then the last thing is batteries, and now we can't see anything. Okay, so I think all in all, that was a massive failure. We didn't end up at where we were supposed to. We tried to divert, and that was not happening. And then we made it into Livingston with a terrible landing. But what I have taken from this... Oh, and we didn't make any money, obviously. What I have taken from this is that I really have to fly the 146 some more. This is such a cool aircraft. And I've forgotten how interesting and challenging this is actually to fly. So, I reckon the next couple of Neofly episodes are going to be in the 146. Which we can barely see because it's dark and there's no lights whatsoever here at Livingston. So let's do something like that. Right, but that's going to bring us to the end of the episode. A bit of a disappointing one, but it is what it is and it happens. Again, I tried to be a bit realistic. We could have just flown to Victoria Falls. Obviously, there isn't really someone waiting there to kill us, but my thinking is, what would I have done in real life? I would have gone somewhere else, so that's what we did. Maybe the only unrealistic thing was I probably wouldn't have pushed that landing if it was real, but at that point I really just wanted to get on the ground. So that's going to bring us to the end of this video. As always, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you do want to follow along, if you did enjoy it, you know what to do down below, and hopefully I see you in the next one.